Hi, friends. Today I've prepared a very useful topic for you. Never eat these 3 vegetables. They kill testosterone fast. Senior health tips. Let's go. If you're a man over 60 and have been told to eat more vegetables for your health, I need you to listen closely. One of the vegetables sitting in your refrigerator right now could be the very reason for your dwindling vitality, prostate troubles, and a faltering sex life. You're not losing your masculinity because you're aging. You're losing it because you've been consuming foods that society has labeled as healthy. My name is Dr. Alan Carter, and with over 3 decades of experience as a men's health specialist, I've helped men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s naturally reclaim their energy and sexual prowess. Time and again, I've observed that the most potent solution is found on your dinner plate, not in a prescription bottle. What if I explained that certain vegetables, yes, vegetables are loaded with obscure compounds that can elevate your estrogen, contribute to the stiffening of your arteries, and trigger inflammation in your prostate? To make matters worse, many of these are hailed as heart-healthy by well-intentioned experts. Herein lies the paradox. The very foods you believe are helping you could be causing more harm. In this discussion, I will unveil 3 overlooked vegetables that science suggests can help you reclaim your manhood, support your prostate, enhance your confidence, and restore vigorous blood flow within days. Conversely, if circulation, testosterone, and libido are priorities for you, I'll identify 3 vegetables you should consider eliminating immediately. Stay with me for an extra tip on preparing these vegetables for maximum nutrient absorption, a technique that will help you remain potent well into your 80s. Once you learn the facts, you'll never view your produce aisle the same way. Let's begin with the revelation that might be the most startling for many of you. Let's expose the first vegetable that, despite its stellar health reputation, may be a primary culprit behind your waning energy. I want to tell you about a patient I worked with, a 68-year-old retired architect named Michael. He was intellectually sharp and devoted to his wife, but a crucial part of him was missing. He came into my clinic confused and quietly ashamed. "Dr. Carter, the rest of my health is fine," he said, "but I just don't feel like myself anymore. My energy is gone. I'm constantly fatigued, and the fire in the bedroom has completely burned out." We ran the tests. His heart was healthy, though his cholesterol was a bit elevated. But one finding was glaring. His testosterone was on the lowest edge of the normal range, and his estrogen levels were abnormally high for a man his age. That's when I asked about his diet. Michael proudly explained that on his cardiologist's advice, he had swapped red meat and dairy years ago for what he believed were heart-healthier choices: tofu, soy milk, and edamame for a snack. In that moment, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The first vegetable you must reconsider, or even eliminate, is soy. Despite its positive branding, soy is a potent source of phytoestrogens, which are plant-based compounds that mimic the effects of the female hormone, estrogen, within a man's body. For a man over 60, this is critical. At this stage of life, your natural testosterone production is already in a gradual decline. When you introduce substances that act like estrogen into your diet. You throw your hormonal symphony further out of tune. What does this translate to in real life? A diminished sex drive, a softer physique, and a persistent feeling of being worn out. For many men like Michael, it also means erections that become weaker, less reliable, or disappear entirely. The issue isn't just obvious soy products. It's how pervasively soy infiltrates your diet unnoticed in processed snacks, protein bars, sauces, and meat alternatives. The food industry loves soy because it's cheap and wears a healthy halo, your male hormones. However, know the truth. Though skeptical, Michael was willing to try and experiment. The plan was simple. We replaced all soy with clean protein sources like grass-fed beef and wild-caught fish. In just a few weeks, he returned with a renewed vigor. A month later, his wife sent me a handwritten thank you card. It simply read, "Dr. Carter, you gave me my husband back. Am I saying soy is poison? No. But it's a health food that men over 60, especially those dealing with fatigue or performance issues, are better off avoiding." Continuing with our theme of healthy foods with a dark side, our next vegetable is even more of a surprise. It's a cornerstone of diets for millions, yet in its most common, processed form. It can be a major driver of chronic inflammation, which hardens arteries and robs blood flow from where you need it. You will be astonished at its ubiquity. Corn is a global dietary staple, featured in countless dishes worldwide. But let me be perfectly clear. I'm not talking about the fresh corn on the cob you enjoy at a summer barbecue. I'm referring to corn as the foundational ingredient of our modern, processed food system. Corn is milled into corn syrup, cornstarch, corn oil, and a host of other additives found in nearly every packaged food. Allow me to introduce you to David, a 62-year-old who came to me with a frightening problem. He was suffering from not only erectile dysfunction, but also pervasive fatigue and aching joints. He was following conventional wisdom, replacing butter with margarine made from vegetable oils typically corn-based. He was frustrated that his efforts to be healthy seemed to be making him worse. The problem for David was chronic inflammation, an invisible but potent enemy. Corn, especially in its processed forms, is exceedingly high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, our bodies need omega-6 south, but they must be in a delicate balance with omega-3 fatty acids, found in foods like walnuts, flaxseed, and fatty fish. The modern American diet has shattered that balance. Recent data from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition highlights that our omega-6 intake is now up to 20 times higher than our omega-3 intake, a massive shift from the near 1-to-1 ratio of our ancestors. When this ratio is so profoundly skewed, your body enters a state of persistent, low-grade inflammation. Picture it as a small, internal fire that never gets extinguished. This inflammation damages the endothelium, the delicate lining of your arteries. And what does the endothelium produce? Nitric oxide, the key molecule for vasodilation. When it's damaged, your ability to produce nitric oxide plummets. The result is arteries that become stiff and lose their elasticity. Blood flow to the penis and everywhere else is dramatically reduced. Furthermore, inflammation is linked to joint pain, brain fog, fatigue, and even the enlargement of the prostate. David's heart-healthy diet was, in fact, fueling the very inflammation that was hardening his arteries. For David, the strategy was clear. We drastically cut out processed seed oils like corn and soy and significantly increased his omega-3 intake with fatty fish like salmon and a high-quality fish oil supplement. Within a month, the change was remarkable. His joint pain eased, a clear sign his vascular health was improving. His morning energy returned, and for the first time in years, he started experiencing morning erections. Read your food labels. If you see corn oil, soy oil, or corn syrup, understand that you could be feeding the information that is choking your vitality. This brings us to our third and most paradoxical antagonist. It's a vegetable that is a staple in detox smoothies and superfood salads, yet when consumed improperly, it can block the absorption of the single most important mineral for a man's testosterone production. And now for the vegetable that shocks my patients the most. This food, despite being a darling of the health community, holds a dark secret, particularly for men over the age of 60. I'm talking about spinach, specifically large quantities of raw spinach. It sounds counterintuitive, but let me clarify with the story of Thomas, a 67-year-old dedicated cyclist who was doing everything right to stay in peak condition. He started every morning with a massive green smoothie packed with raw spinach, believing he was flooding his body with nutrients. His blood work, however, told a different story. His testosterone was low, and his zinc levels were critically low, despite eating zinc-rich foods. He also complained of a non-existent libido. Thomas's problem wasn't what he was eating, but how the food was interacting with his body. The culprit here is a compound called oxalate. Raw spinach is one of the richest sources of oxalates. In your digestive tract, oxalates act like tiny mineral thieves. They bind to essential minerals like zinc, calcium, and magnesium before your body can absorb them and then escort them out of your system. Zinc, as we've discussed, is like gold for a man. It's a non-negotiable building block for both testosterone production and prostate health. So with every sip of that super healthy green smoothie, Thomas was unknowingly starving his body of the very mineral it needed most to maintain his manhood. Am I telling you to stop eating spinach? Absolutely not. Spinach is a fantastic source of magnesium and other minerals. The secret is in the how, not the what. Simply cooking spinach, even for a few minutes via sauteing or steaming, dramatically reduces the oxalate content, liberating those minerals for your body to absorb. After Thomas switched his raw smoothie for an omelette with sautéed spinach, his zinc and testosterone levels began to climb within weeks. Now that you know the hidden adversaries on your plate, let's flip the script. Let's talk about the three forgotten heroes, the vegetables. You should be adding to your diet right now to actively rebuild your strength, circulation, and hormonal balance. Now that you're aware of the potential antagonists on your plate, let's pivot and focus on the power of rebuilding. There are three vegetables I consider non-negotiable for men over 60. They aren't exotic or expensive. In fact, they are so common that most men overlook them. Our first hero, and the undisputed king of circulation, is the beet. If poor circulation is the enemy, beets are your one-man army. Remember Michael's feeling of low pressure in the system? Beets are the direct answer. They are one of nature's most potent sources of dietary nitrates. When you consume beets, your body converts these nitrates into nitric oxide, as we've established. Nitric oxide is the master molecule that relaxes and dilates your blood vessels, allowing blood to flow with force throughout your body. Imagine it as turning a narrow, winding country lane into a 6-lane superhighway for your circulation. A study in the Journal of Nutrition showed that consuming beet juice can significantly lower blood pressure and improve endothelial function, the health of your arterial lining. But here is the detail most people miss. How you prepare beets matters immensely. The magic of beets is lost when they are pickled or canned. The high heat of the canning process and extended storage destroys a large percentage of those beneficial nitrates. Even worse, the pickling process adds a high load of sodium and vinegar, which can constrict your arteries, counteracting the very benefit you're seeking. For the full effect, you need fresh beets, either grated raw into a salad, lightly roasted, or steamed. Our second hero is a champion of hormonal balance, but it comes with an instruction manual. Broccoli. The real key to vitality is the balance between testosterone and estrogen. Many men focus only on raising testosterone, but here is the truth. For men over 60, broccoli is one of the most powerful vegetables for estrogen detoxification and prostate protection, but it only works if you prepare it correctly. Broccoli, along with other cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, contains a powerful compound which, upon chewing and digestion, forms sulforaphane. This substance is a game changer. It helps the liver detoxify, reduces systemic inflammation, and crucially for older men, it helps your body excrete excess estrogen, which supports a healthier testosterone to estrogen ratio. But there's a huge catch. The precursor to sulforaphane and the enzyme needed to create it are extremely heat sensitive. When you overcook broccoli, or worse, microwave it to death, you destroy most of this medicinal compound. You're left with a limp stock that provides fiber, yes, but not the protective power your aging body needs. Remember David, the patient with inflammation and brain fog? He initially told me he ate broccoli every night. But when I asked how, he replied, "I microwave it for 5 minutes until it's really soft." He was unknowingly destroying the very compound his body was screaming for. He was eating the right food for his manhood, but his preparation method rendered it useless. When we made the simple switch to steaming his broccoli for no more than 3 to 4 minutes, or even eating it raw with a healthy dip, he started to notice small shifts. His mind felt clearer. His nightly trips to the bathroom lessened. His energy began to stabilize. It's a small change, but for men over 60, the small, repeated habits either build you up or break you down. This brings us to our final, third forgotten hero. And this one, gentlemen, is your testosterone silent bodyguard. Mushrooms. Yes, mushrooms. Specifically, the common white button mushrooms you can find in any grocery store. They are so much more than a pizza topping or salad ingredient. They are a veritable natural pharmacy for a man's hormonal health. Let me bring back Thomas, the 67-year-old cyclist I mentioned. After fixing his spinach routine, his zinc levels improved, but he still felt his competitive edge and libido were lagging. He was better, but not powerful. There was a missing piece to his hormonal puzzle. That piece was a sneaky enzyme that becomes more active as men age. The enzyme giving Thomas trouble is called aromatase. Think of aromatase as a testosterone thief. It's the enzyme the body uses to convert your precious testosterone into estrogen. As men get older, and especially if they carry a little extra body fat, aromatase activity increases. This means the enzyme is actively stealing testosterone from your system and turning it into the female hormone before you can use it. This is why Thomas didn't feel his best even with adequate zinc levels. His testosterone was being converted to estrogen too quickly. This is where the magic of mushrooms comes in. Simple white button mushrooms contain compounds that have been shown in scientific studies, like those from the Beckman Research Institute, to act as natural aromatase inhibitors. They don't boost testosterone production directly. Instead, they act like bodyguards, blocking the enzyme from converting your existing testosterone into estrogen. They protect what you have. This means more of your testosterone remains as free, active testosterone in your bloodstream to do its job. Build muscle, sharpen your mind, and fuel your libido and vitality. When I had Thomas start incorporating sautéed mushrooms with garlic and olive oil a few times a week, it was the final piece of the puzzle. He called me about a month later, and there was a new resonance in his voice. "This is it, Doc," he said. "The drive is back. The energy isn't frantic. It's a calm, confident strength I haven't felt in over a decade." He was actively defending his hormones with every meal. So there you have it. The secret adversaries on your plate have been revealed. Soy for its hormonal disruption, processed. Corn for its inflammatory load, and excess raw spinach for its zinc-thieving properties. And we've identified the 3 heroes you should enlist. Fresh beets to flood your system with nitric oxide. Properly prepared broccoli to manage your hormones. And mushrooms to guard your testosterone. But as promised for those of you who have stayed until the end, here is the bonus tip that supercharges everything else. We've talked about zinc and magnesium, but there is a third mineral that most men have never heard of that can give your testosterone a significant boost. Your bonus tip is boron, the forgotten mineral of masculine vigor. Yes. Boron is a trace mineral that gets very little attention, but research shows it is incredibly powerful. Boron works by reducing a blood protein called SHBG, sex hormone binding. Globulin, SHBG binds to testosterone, rendering it inactive and useless. By lowering SHBG, boron helps increase your level of free testosterone, the kind that actually matters for energy, libido, and strength. How did you get boron? You don't need expensive supplements. Foods like raisins, dates, avocados, and almonds are excellent sources. Simply including a few dates in your smoothie or a handful of raisins as a snack is an easy way to help ensure the testosterone your body is producing is actually usable. It's the unseen force multiplier that makes everything else work better. These are the fundamentals, but I know some of you are hungry for more. If you found this information valuable for yourself or for a man you care about, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and leave a comment below. Your story, your questions, or even a simple thank you can be the catalyst that starts another man on his journey to better health.